Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's a new season, it's a new series of what was the Algerian football show, will be known as the Algerian Football Podcast this season. Welcome back to the channel. If you're not sure of the show, basically we sort of round up the key Algerian news from the last week. We're going to be doing it every Monday night, inshallah, and hopefully you can also get it as an audio platform as well, like iTunes, Spotify, so if you're off to work, come back from school, whatever, you can listen to it in your headphones. So this is the Algerian Football Podcast for this season. Like I said, hope you're all doing good, hope you're all doing well. Drop a like on the video if you're excited to see the shows come back. Always in the world of Algerian football, a lot to get through. Some big stories this week, which we shall delve into now. I think the main story we're going to start with is the AC Milan midfielder Yacine Adli. Now, of course, he was actually bought by Milan last summer, but loaned back to Bordeaux for the remainder of the season, I think. Obviously, Bordeaux have not done too well. I think they're in Ligue 2. He's gone to Milan. Now, we always see these links, these pages. Oh, Algeria are going to get Neymar and Benzema and Mbappe. Yacine Adli, this looks like a 99% done. Now, we're not looking at Algerian media, we're looking at Italian media, we're looking at Milano media, coming out of them, and French media, that Yacine Adli has completed the switch from France to Algeria. I think he only played for the French up to sort of the under-20 youth level. Even on Transfermarkt, the main site for statistics, his nationality, his citizenship has been changed from French to Algerian. So it looks like we've got Yacine Adli on the cards. Fantastic. Now in these reports, it's being alluded to that Ismail Benrahma played a big part in talking Yacine Adli into the Algeria move, which is absolutely fantastic, which even strengthens the already obvious notion that Benrahma should be the captain. Of course, he did captain Algeria in the recent international break, where Algeria won 3 games out of 3. So really good to see Yacine Adli on board. I think the central midfield area has been a big position we needed to sort out, with Gudjura and Sofiane Feghouli going out of that team, ageing legs. Benrahma's always going to be in there. We have seen the likes of Zerouki come in. I think Zerouki's okay, and I think Zerouki will get better. Obviously, if you compare the Eredivisie with playing for AC Milan in the Champions League, and the fact that Benrahma and Adli were playing together at club level for quite a lot of the time throughout the season, it only benefits the national team. So Adli in there with Benrahma is very good, and I think I'd have a third in there, maybe a Houssem Aouar one day. Much rather him than Adams or Gan. Now, Adli's a young central midfield. Everyone's excited. It still bugs me. Why wasn't this done 6 months ago in for the Cameroon game? In for the AFCON. Look at the AFCON. We had no Benrahma and no Zerouki for the opening game. We played Haris Belkebla, Sofiane Feghouli and Yacine Brahimi as our central midfield in that opening game against Sierra Leone. You put Adli in there next to Belkebla and it's a completely different game. But, you know, alhamdulillah, we've got Adli over the line, looks like. So that's fantastic. Yacine Adli on his way to the Algerian national team. Well, when are we going to see them in action? Because we know that in September we were supposed to have the double header of AFCON qualifiers against Niger home and away. That's obviously been postponed, I believe, because of the postponement of the AFCON from next summer to January 2024. So Algeria can play 2 games in the international break. It's sort of between the 19th and the 27th of September. Seen the links of the likes of Italy, Belgium want to play Algeria. Well, the thing is, these European teams are going to be playing UEFA Nations League matches, so they're not going to have any time to play sort of African teams in friendlies. So any of those would have to probably be in November. So I expect Algeria to perhaps play an African side in a friendly in September to debut the likes of Adli, possibly Ait-Nouri, those sorts of players, to see Delors come back as well. And we could play a team like Guinea in that international break, but it works for us because we can maybe use the Oran Stadium or use the Baraki Stadium for the first time. Of course, the Oran Stadium looks splendid in the recent Mediterranean games, and Algeria have got the Chan coming up, so they really want to ideally have to test those stadiums out before that tournament kicks off. So that's first piece of news. Adli on his way to Algeria, inshallah, it looks that way. Then we move on to the transfer market. Now, let's talk about Saïd Benrahma. So we started on the bench. Lots of questions about his future. Now, from what I'm told, of course I'm very close with West Ham, David Moyes is happy to sell Saïd, more than happy to sell Saïd. And I think a lot of Algerians would be happy to see Saïd go because he hasn't really hit the form he hit when he was at Brentford. Now, West Ham paid quite a lot of money for him, best part of £30 million a couple of years ago. West Ham are only going to sell Benrahma if they get the majority of that money back, because Vlasic is going to go probably to Serie A. So to sell Benrahma would mean they'd have to get an attacker in and get some decent money back. West Ham are not going to buy Benrahma for 30 mil and flog him for 6, 7, 8 million. Now I think there's two places he would go. He would either go back to Brentford and reunite there with the fans, which he's got a great relationship with. Or I think Nottingham Forest, and the history of Algerians Nottingham Forest have had, could snip him, and he'd play alongside Jesse Lingard, which of course would make West Ham fans even more annoyed. Now, Forest are not afraid to put big money down. They've signed 12, 13 players already this season. Of course, again, Lingard about 200 grand a week. That 200k, by the way, is including the signing on fee, all the bonuses and all that. It's not literally every week, but I think he will get that amount at the end of the season. Benrahma to Forest, would he start? He better start at Forest, but they've got, you know, good players, really. They've signed the Nigerian Ait-Nouri, they've got obviously Brennan Johnson, Lingard playing behind them. I don't know, would Benrahma want to go to Forest from West Ham? This is the thing, I know Forest have obviously won European Cups in the past, but I think if Benrahma was looking to leave, he'd want to be playing in a team in Europe and not in the team fighting for relegation with respect to Forest. But if they're going to cough up 15, 20, 25 million, I think West Ham would accept that sort of bid. So we'll see what happens with Saïd. Of course, could go back to Ligue as well. Struggled to break in the Algeria team recently, hasn't he, Benrahma? So we'll see what he decides to do. Recent comments from the Napoli president talking about if he signs any African players, they have to refuse to go to the Africa Cup of Nations. Now, Ounas is on Napoli's books right now. If you're Ounas and you're reading that, you're thinking, what on earth is going on here? Ounas, get out of Napoli, my son, because that is shocking. Few clubs sniffing around Ounas. You know, he had that loan spell a couple of years ago to Nice. Well, I think every Algerian seems to be ending up at Nice the way this is going. But I reckon a loan move, even talks in clubs in Serie B would even take. I think it goes to Serie B, the second tier in Italy. I think that's an absolute disgrace. I've said time and time again, Ounas, when fit, is a better dribbler than Youssouf Belaïli. A better dribbler. This doesn't mean Belaïli's a bad dribbler, because Belaïli's a good dribbler as well. But Ounas is a better dribbler than Youssouf Belaïli. It's just been the fitness, the playing time. When you're at a club like Napoli, you've got people like Mertens, Lozano, Insigne. Very hard to break into that sort of team. A real shame. Of course, Fawzi Goulam left Napoli. He's a free agent as well. We'll see what he decides to do. So I hope Ounas is a key player, I think, for us in this transfer window. And of course, Islam Slimani, not involved in Sporting Lisbon's opening game, not in the starting 11 or the bench. Let's see what Slimani does, because obviously he's on big money. If he went elsewhere, I think he'd have to considerably drop his wages. But at the same time, he doesn't really want to go to the Middle East or China now. Of course, there's clubs in Saudi Arabia where he could link up with Leonardo Jardim, which could happen at the likes of Al Hilal. But you might see him at Stade Brestois link up with Youssouf Belaïli. And from a marketing perspective, the Algerians would flog, wherever it is, Brestois, Brittany, I don't know where it is, northwest France, I think. And of course, they've got good link up, but didn't really see. Well, we saw the goal at Cameroon away when Belaïli crossed it and Slimani headed it. But it'd be interesting to see how well they'd work together. Slimani at 34, maybe couldn't stay too fit. But elsewhere in Ligue 1, some interesting results. Obviously, Nice drew 1-1. We saw Bilal Brahimi come on and assist Aaron Ramsey. Who would have thought we'd ever see that? Aaron Ramsey getting assisted by Bilal Brahimi. And that's what happens when you get to play for Algeria early. Now people are going to be talking about who's Bilal Brahimi. He can't play for France now. 3 games for Algeria. So that's why you get them in early. He looks good. If he plays regularly with Nice, it looks like we've got another Brahimi. By Yacine, welcome Bilal. So that looks good. Obviously, Ardal injured. I don't think Badawi played. Delors played up front. He's still playing with Goury. Of course, Goury, a player who doesn't seem to want to open the door to Algeria, unfortunately. So that happened. Haris Belkabla was on the score sheet, I believe, for Stade Brestois as well. No sort of goal involvement for Youssouf Belaïli, but good to see Belkabla off the mark. A lot of Algerians watching Brestois sort of more interested in Youssouf Belaïli's performances than what the likes of Haris Belkabla are doing. So that was good to see him off the mark. Lille looked very good. Zaki Celik went to Jose Mourinho at Roma, so Akim Zadudka has taken that right back spot. He starts the opening game for Lille. I think they win 4-1 and he gets on the score sheet. So brilliant. We've got a good right back there for when Yusuf Attal is injured. Well, not when he's injured, he's always injured. Yeah, for he is injured. So that's good. So the right back position seems to be strengthened. Left back, Rami Ben scored on the opening day as well in the Bundesliga under Daniel Farke. He scored a wonderful bicycle kick. So good win for Mönchengladbach there. For me, there's a talking point now in terms of the captain Riyad Mahrez. Now, Riyad Mahrez signed that new contract. He's going to be contracted to Manchester City until 2025. When players sign a new contract, generally means they should be sort of, when you're in a big club, you want to be starting. Look at Sterling, 1 year left, gone. Jesus, gone. Mahrez had a year left, signed on. Expected him to start. Obviously started the Community Shield, City lost that. Was at the game. If you've seen the vlog, check it out on the channel. This man got what he wanted. Erling Haaland, off the mark already, 2 goals, and he took the penalty. Now that's not good for Riyad, because Mahrez looked the top scorer last season, looked confident on the penalty suddenly. I think Haaland's going to want to take them if he wants to hit that 30-35 goal mark. What does it mean for Mahrez's game time? Now, a lot of Algerians are quite excited with Sterling going and Jesus going, meaning more game time in the big games for Mahrez, not the League Cup games or the FA Cup, the big cup with respect. Didn't start. It was Jack Grealish on the left, it was Haaland up front, which is not a surprise, and it was Phil Foden on the right. Now, neither of those players were involved in the goals. The first goal was a penalty that was won by Haaland. Second goal, I think De Bruyne put the ball through to Haaland. So, Grealish and Foden, from a statistical point of view, not worthy of keeping the place. We know Pep likes to chop and change, but what does Haaland's arrival mean for Mahrez? Well, for me, I think Mahrez's assists, particular emphasis on assists, will go up, because he was getting so many good balls into the box last season that Sterling was missing. Playing without a striker really cost Mahrez his assist statistics. Now, when Mahrez plays with Erling, and of course they had a friendship when they were on holiday together when he was a Dortmund player in Mykonos, it's good. Is Phil Foden going to steal the game time though from Mahrez? Well, I hope Mahrez starts against Bournemouth, because it's Bournemouth at home. You know, it's not Liverpool or Chelsea away. Rotate the squad, get Mahrez in. Bernardo Silva, another attacking player that could be leaving as well. But I think Mahrez is going to be expecting game time, and of course, having Mahrez in fantasy football didn't work well in week 1. I'm going to stick with him for week 2, because if he does start against Bournemouth at home. But anyway, we're going to wrap up the first Algerian football podcast of this season. Hope you enjoyed it wherever you're listening to. Don't think it will be on the other platforms yet, but it should be by the second episode if you want to subscribe on there. But thanks for watching. We're going to end the show with a quiz question. Feel free to comment the answer to the quiz in the comments down below. And we are going to reveal the answer in next week's show. So every show we'll have a little Algerian football quiz question and then reveal the answer in the show afterwards. So today's question, we're on the subject of English football. Which of these Algerian internationals has not played in England? Okay, which of these Algerian internationals has not played in England? Is it Andy Delors? Is it Yacine Brahimi? Or is it Karim Mat Moore? One of those hasn't played in England in terms of playing for an English club, not for playing a game in England. Anyway, we'll reveal the answer next week. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. I'll see you next time.